Hi, welcome to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph, and for the past 18 months, I have been setting aside at least 20% of my income in the forms of coins and precious metals. About 6 months ago, when I started this YouTube channel, I made the commitment to purchase at least $1, half dollar, quarter, dime, and American Silver Eagle every single paycheck. That was until everything changed. Alright, so you should be asking, well, Joseph, what changed? What could change so much that you'd be seemingly all in on silver and then all in on gold? What could have that big of a difference that is the position you're in at this moment? And well, in short terms, the answer is the gold to silver ratio. If you're new to stacking, it would make sense if you don't know much about what the gold to silver ratio is or has been doing. But if you're a stacker and you've been buying precious metals for a while, the gold to silver ratio is something you really need to be paying attention to. So let's talk about it. The gold to silver ratio is what you get when you divide the price of an ounce of gold by the price of an ounce of silver. Now, historically, the gold to silver ratio was set in stone. When silver and gold circulated, the United States actually put out that their gold to silver ratio was 16-1. This is what that looked like. We get 16 ounces of silver right here next to this 1 ounce of gold. Now, it was in the form of these coins, so it was more like $20 of this quarter would get you a $20 gold coin, or 20 of these quarters would get you a $5 gold coin, or even like this. This $1 gold coin was the same value and even circulated at the same time as these $1 silver coins. 16-1. Eventually, over time, it was changed to 15.5 over 1, 15-1, and then moved all over the place. Once they took gold out of circulation in 1939, the gold to silver ratio started moving way up. Started moving way up. Historically, today, it's been anywhere from 60 to 120. So, what is a stacker to do? My biggest way that I play the gold to silver ratio is that when the gold to silver ratio is high, meaning that gold costs a lot when buying it in silver, I buy silver. That means silver is cheap. If the gold to silver ratio is high and you buy silver, then the gold to silver ratio could drop and you could buy gold with that silver. Let's say it costs, what's this? 6, we'll do 8. Let's say it costs you 8 ounces of silver to buy 1/10 of an ounce of gold. That's a pretty average gold to silver ratio. So let's say all of a sudden that gold to silver ratio goes up and it would cost you 10 ounces of silver to buy 1/10 of an ounce of gold. That would be a gold to silver ratio of 100. If I buy a bunch of silver at that time, let's say I buy this 10 ounces, and then these 10 ounces sit, and now all of a sudden the gold to silver ratio is dropping, and it only costs 6 ounces of silver to buy this 1/10 of an ounce of gold. That would be a good time to sell this silver and buy this 1/10 of an ounce of gold, and I can keep these 4 ounces of silver. Another way to think of it is if this ratio is high and I could sell this gold for 10 ounces of silver, and then later use only 6 of those ounces of silver to buy back this 1/10 of an ounce of gold, and then later I would end up with the 1/10 of an ounce of gold that I originally had and an additional 4 ounces of silver. So why would I not pay attention to this? All right, so you have a little bit of an understanding of the gold to silver ratio, but you're probably still asking, Joseph, what happened? What happened to the gold to silver ratio? Well, when I first started stacking, the gold to silver ratio was in the 70s, and I watched it slowly climb until just about a couple weeks ago, let's call it 2 months ago, the gold to silver ratio shot up to 100. I believe it was 102. At that point, I sold a little less than 1 ounce of gold. I actually have the record right here. I sold 0.896949 ounces of gold. I have the list of everything I sold. It was lots of fractional gold, as you can see. This is what I originally paid for it and how much store credit I got because I was buying silver. Then I bought 81.25 ounces of silver at this price, but it was effectively $31.07 per ounce because that's what I spent on the gold. So already on the gold, I had a profit, which discounted my silver. I traded at an effective gold to silver ratio of 90.5. So what does that mean? What does that mean on this side? What does that mean for now? Well, really, it means as soon as I could get a trade that had an effective gold to silver ratio of less than that 90.5, then it would make sense to start selling some of this silver, these eagles that I traded for, to start selling that back for gold. And well, that's exactly what happened. The gold to silver ratio has been moving down quickly in the past recent weeks. It moved from that 102, I believe the highest it got was 105. And now it's below 90. When I made my trade yesterday, it was actually at 86. I think 86.2 or something around that range. So, how much silver did I sell? How much silver did I sell in order to buy this 5-gram gold bar? I sold 5 of my American Eagles for this one 5-gram gold bar. And that may seem like, hold on a second, we can do math. We know that this at most would get about $200, and this is more than a $500 chunk of gold. So how did that happen? How did you pull that off? Well, I added the sales for this silver that I sold to my regular dollar cost average. And well, there's another term we can talk about. Dollar cost average. What's a dollar cost average? And how do I use that? Dollar cost averaging is when you take a certain number of dollars and decide that that number of dollars is going to be what you spend on precious metals. Really what you invest in to anything. But we're talking about precious metals. So let's say that number for you could be $50. With $50 today, you might be able to end up with 1 ounce and maybe a $half. More likely, a few dimes. But as the price changes, as it fluctuates, what you're able to buy will fluctuate instead of what you are paying fluctuating. It's a smart way to do it because it doesn't hurt more or less for you and your wallet when the price changes. You're just still spending the same $50. So I dollar cost average a 20% of my paycheck into precious metals. That 20% does fluctuate a little bit because sometimes I make a little extra money. Sometimes I take days off. And that's all part of it. But since the gold to silver ratio shifted in this way, found some more gold. Since the gold to silver ratio shifted in this way, I'm deciding to coin a term, silver cost averaging. So instead of only using the dollar to buy me gold, I am going to be selling 5 ounces of silver every 2 weeks. It's going to look like this. 5 ounces of silver. And then I'm going to add that to my dollar cost average of my 20%. And that's going to be able to afford me significantly more gold. If I was just going in with my dollar cost average, I would not even be able to afford 1/10 of an ounce. And when coins get even smaller, the premium gets higher. I'd be spending more money on smaller coins than I would be spending on the actual gold inside of them. So doing this way lowers the premium as well as slowly transitions my silver into gold. So what's the benefit of doing it like this versus just waiting for the GSR to get as low as it does and then selling it all? And I could see that, yes, if I waited for the GSR to get all the way down to 60 and then traded all of the silver that I had to buy gold, I would definitely end up with a lot more gold. I would definitely be ending up with probably an ounce, a 1 ounce coin, and a little bit more. But tell me, how do I know when the gold to silver ratio is going to flip? How do I know it's not as low as it's going to be right now? So this silver cost averaging is almost like a hedge against the big waves, the ups and downs. If I do this the whole time, eventually I'll build up an average of how much I was able to get a return on all these 5 ounce purchases. So as this gold to silver ratio changes, I'm taking advantage of it. I'm going to be selling my silver, 5 ounces of it, so as the gold to silver ratio drops, I'm going to be selling silver, 5 ounces of silver every 2 weeks. And the lower it gets, the better my returns are going to be. So I'm no longer looking at the gold price and the silver price. I'm looking at how they interact with each other. Of course, yes, I'm still buying gold with dollars. And when I sell my silver, it's going to be in the form of dollars. And then I use those dollars to buy gold. but the prices themselves are less and less significant if I'm looking at precious metals in this way. So is that it? Am I done buying silver? Well, no. I actually even bought a little bit of silver yesterday while I was buying this bar of gold. Wait, hold on. I sold silver and bought silver in the same transaction? Yes, technically. But my mindset has shifted. Instead of buying silver at as cheap as I can, I'm changing the silver that I'm buying. In my last video, I showed off these Seated Liberty $50 I got. And yesterday when I was at the coin shop, I bought these ones. They were the only other two Seated Liberty coins that he had that I could buy. So this is now almost my complete Seated Liberty collection. So how's that any different? Well, if I'm buying collectible coins and selling bullion, that kind of makes a little bit of sense, right? I'm selling something I might not want to keep forever and buying something I would want to keep forever. Now, it might not be the smartest, but that's what I'm doing. If you guys use the gold to silver ratio, let me know how you use it. Let me know what you're planning on doing. If you like what I'm doing, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think about using the gold to silver ratio to influence what split of gold versus silver you buy. Do you have trigger points of a gold to silver ratio when you sell gold or sell silver? Or do you just use the dollar amount? Let me know how you guys view this topic. If you like information like this, and you like the type of videos that I put out, make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you click the subscribe button and that bell icon so you get notified when I make any videos. Make sure you guys share this video if you know anybody that might like some content like this. But most of all, everybody, thank you for watching.